Today's episode is really fun. You're sitting down for a conversation between two friends. So, Dinah is a mom with three kids under four. She shares about traveling and a recent trip to Hawaii where she realized she did not have sun hats and really how that all turned out. Uh, she shares her purpose in motherhood and how that kind of intentionally cultivates her everyday moments with her kids outside. We chat about how she approaches risk and she offers encouragement for other parents in this area. Dinah has recently completed 4 years of studying herbalism at the Wild Rose College. So, one of my favorite parts of this conversation was asking her about local plants and really how we can apply them to day-to-day life. So I love that. Come join us. It's a fun chat.
Welcome to Let's Go Outside, a podcast bringing moms together to chat about the raw, unfiltered reality of doing the exploring we love after having kids. No matter your comfort level of adventuring with the little ones, this is a space to have honest conversations about the real struggles of getting out the door with the kiddos. I'm Danica, a mama living in a small mountain town who's totally obsessed with healthy food and taking my kids outside every single day. I professionally guided backpacking trips in the Canadian Rockies, and I'm certified as a Leave No Trace instructor. On the show, you'll hear real experiences from other moms, plus tips on gear, trail snacks, and the best practices in the wilderness. Whether it's hiking, camping, backpacking, skiing, or traveling the world you want to do more of, this is your place to learn, find encouragement, and strip away any comparison. Come embrace both motherhood and the outdoors. Stick around. This is your place. Welcome to the Outdoor Mom Club. Welcome to the Let's Go Outside podcast. I'm super excited to have Dinah Reacher here with me. She has been a friend for probably, I was trying to think about this, 10 years, and always super adventurous, outdoor minded. And then I have seen her go into the holistic sphere and research and go into herbalism, and so that's been really cool to see, and then to bring kids and do kids all alongside the adventurous life. So I'm so excited to have her chatting with me today. So welcome, Dinah.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Danica. I think it's so cool
Yeah.
to, I don't know, have a background with you and see you doing this and kind of and just being a part of it.
Yeah, totally. We've done some really fun trips together and just outdoor life together. So raising kids
Oh my
together,
word.
it's been
Remember
fun.
that one time when it was July 4th and I'm in the States, right? So like 4th of July is a big thing, but we couldn't go down because of the C word thing going on. And I don't even want to say it. And so we went up into the mountains and you had your oldest Koa. And we were slacklining up there and it was freezing cold and we jumped in and yeah, I just now remembered that. That was a long time ago.
Wow. Yes. Okay, so we were in Canada. You couldn't go to the States. We did a backcountry trip. Koa was
A
4 months
baby.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
we
And we
shared a
jumped into
hammock.
that glacier
Do you
water.
remember where we were?
I think we named it because no one goes there. It's like we called that Slackers Lake, right?
Okay. Yes,
It's
you
like
have
such
such
a
a good
remote place.
memory.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is pretty close to here, too. Oh. Okay, Dinah, tell the listeners about yourself, about your family, and a little bit of an intro about you, maybe where you live in the world.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I am a mama of three. I have a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-month-old who's going to be great friends with your little Sky there. Two girls and a boy, which is very exciting dynamics. Um, we live in Northern Idaho, Bonners Ferry, um, right at the base of two beautiful mountains, Clifty and Black Mountain, which we hike probably at least half a dozen times in a summer. It's kind of like the go-to. People come down, want to go on a hike, maybe aren't big hikers. Clifty. Our big hikers, Clifty. Have little kids, Clifty. Don't have any kids, Clifty. Like Clifty, it's just Clifty. So yeah, if anyone comes down, look up Clifty. It's a great hike. Um, yeah, we just bought a house a couple years ago, so that's kind of where a lot of our energy is going now. We're constantly renovating, adding on, changing, landscaping, gardening. We put in a an orchard last year. Um, don't ask me about it. Well, you can ask me about it, but it's a sad story.
Tell me about memories growing up, going outside. How did you start getting into exploring and traveling?
Uh, I mean, I would want to say it probably started from infancy, but we moved here when I was 2. We didn't fly anywhere. That wasn't an option growing up. So we drove. We drove a lot of places down to the Baja, across to California. One of my favorite traveling memories growing up, I was 5, and then we did it again when I was 6, and then again when I was 7, and then again when I was 14, and then again when I was 17. And it was just kind of became this place we went down to the Baja and we stayed there. We lived on the Baja for probably just just over 4 weeks, I think. Uh, Swimming in the ocean. My dad would come up and we'd have these, big starfish, living starfish. We'd throw them back in, but explore that. Um, this one time we were all kayaking in the waves and these dolphins are just like jumping like right beside our boat. They were so excited to see us. I wish I could say I jumped in with them because I wanted to so bad. And dad was like, do it, jump in. I was like, they're big.
Did
Um,
you just free camp on the beach when you did that kind of
we
thing, or
did.
where did
It
you
was
guys
all
stay?
free camping, which is
Okay.
really cool. I should ask my parents about it because there were all these little like um I mean, when I say hut, it was like a three-walled, maybe, I don't know how many square feet, maybe 12 or 15 square feet huts where, we could fit to sleep, move our stuff out, live in it in the day and do kind of repeat that. That's what I
Okay.
remember. So it was cooking, cooking on the beach, sleeping in the hut, moving our stuff out of the hut so mom could do school or whatever we wanted to in the hut because it was hot. But otherwise, yeah, I was tenting. Yeah. And that I would say, what was your question? How did we, that really
We're
spurred me, those trips. That
okay.
really, I think, would be a baseline for when I realized like the world, like you can explore the world. Like this is a possibility.
Mm.
Dad, we'd go and collect oysters, boil the oysters and eat them and just realizing like where you can find food. And I know I think further on we're going to talk about maybe plants and herbalism and foraging. It just resonated. Like we can go out and we can find sustenance. And, you know, the women listening to this, I think that's where we're all coming from. Like, what can we find when we go out? What do we find? Do we find things we can put in our mouths? Do we find things that are like pleasing to our eyes that like teach us? We're all like we just want to soak it in. And that to me was huge. Like we can forage for, in this case, food. And that just like hit a special spot for me.
Yeah, I can totally see that that has carried on for you. I want to know about when you did what your trips looked like without your family going forward. When you became older, I know you went to, um, I'm trying to think, was it Tanzania by yourself?
Yeah. And that I my parents, they started it, so they they can't say no, but it's their fault. If I have to
Oh,
blame someone, they put it in me. I mean, growing up, then I had planned, got in touch with a woman who um did trips to China. Yep, and I spent time in Tanzania. The trips to China were smuggling Bibles. It was a mission-based trip. And I mean, huge sparks going off for me travel-wise. And then just, I mean, the reality of what we were doing, it just is really special. But um we went and saw the Great Wall. Amazing. I mean, if you have not seen that in person, I mean, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Amazing. And then another trip, yeah, we did. I went as a nanny and we were 6 months in Africa in Dar es Salaam. Have you been to Dar?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I know you've been to different places in Africa. Tanzania, Kenya.
Uh, Kenya and then Senegal, the Gambia, and Tunisia.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
so that really sparked more. And then I married my husband who is German. And so he has roots there. He grew up there first 7 years, so just a little bit of history and background. And we went back for 5 weeks this last 2 years ago now. And we were there for 5 weeks, just exploring all the surroundings. We're seeing all the castles. So that was big traveling. That was with kids. So that's maybe jumping ahead a little bit, but
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. So, do you feel like when you had kids, was it a seamless integration for them to come along with you? Or did you find that it took you some time? Any thoughts about that? Maybe joining like bringing them alongside your traveling, but also your adventures of hiking and exploring?
that's a great question. Seamless? No. Exciting? Yes. And as they get older, it's really cool to see them, first of all, remembering the trips we go on, and then also just being a part more, just more a part of it. Um, integrating them. If you can get through the airport, if you can, if you can get through the airplane ride, I kind of feel like you're good. Like it's that in between of kind of reminds me of bedtime, if you can get if you can get the teeth brushed and like the feet clean and then you're good. Like jammies are on. We've done it. We've done the hard part. Then it's kind of easy flying. But um, what did we didn't do? We started talking about it more, I think, before we would go on trips. Just kind of that mind prep, which sometimes is not a good idea. But for these bigger events, talking about it, getting them hyped about it, kind of what that looks like was helpful.
And your most recent trip, I heard, was to Hawaii.
Kauai, yes.
Kauai.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that
Yeah.
was short. That was a short trip.
Okay.
And there were a few aspects of it that just really slowed us down a lot, which was why we went. So it was a slow trip, and Jordan was there for half of it, and then went home to work, and I stayed for another little bit. But that was with Mowgli, so he's the set would have been 5 months then. Yeah, so that was with Mowgli. My girls are 3 and 4, and they are, if they're my mama one, mama two. I'm like mama three. So we all just kind of work around this little human Mowgli that we are all taking care of at all times. If I'm doing something wrong, like they let me know and get mama, give him milk. Like he needs milk. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, right. Mama, did you change his diaper? I'm like, did you change his diaper? No, where are the diapers? Like they're right here. Oh, okay, okay. Like it's just this very we're always we're always touching base, but it was a great trip. I mean, the sun, January, we were there in February, early March. The sun, amazing. You have to get to sun in those winter months. I mean, up here in the northern hemisphere, we start shriveling. Yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
and I
Every
am the
part of
mom
us.
that doesn't bring sunscreen, doesn't bring a hat, doesn't bring long sleeve. I'm like sitting at the beach, kind of frying and, holding a blanket over him, and my arms are kind of like dying, but he can't burn any more than he already has. So I'm like,
And do you feel like that's because it's like a type B situation where you're like, yeah, let's go. And then it's kind of like you get there and you're like, oh, yeah, let's just figure it out
It's
on the
kind of
go
like
and realize, like, oh,
it's kind of like we planned this trip. Honey, where's the hat? Like we're in Kauai. I'm like, what hat? For him? Like, yeah. No, I'm the type B mom, so yeah, not really the situation. It's more the me.
I feel that way also. I feel like having kids has stretched me to think ahead a bit more. Um, but I also feel like just doing life has made me train for hard moments like that where you're like, oh yeah, I didn't bring in my hat, but I have a shirt and I can put a shirt
Right,
over them. Like,
right.
where you're just like, I'm just going to adapt and figure this out in this moment, which is, I know, very stressful. But I
Can
think you
be.
and I can relate like that, where it's like, I think that's stressful for different types of people. And I know people
Yes.
listening to this might be like, oh my goodness, like,
Well,
I
here's the
cannot relate
thing.
at all.
Here's the thing. I would rather go to the beach without a hat for my 5-month-old than not go to the beach because I don't have a hat for my 5-month-old. You know, our minds are, our brain space is only so large. We only have so much capacity for our children. So, man, just count the wins. If you brought a snack, great. Like there's your hat. That's your hat now. You know, I'm not saying you can't use the snack for a hat, but you forgot the hat, but you remembered the snack. So you practically remembered the hat too. I don't
It's
know.
a
Count
win.
count the wins.
You're in the sun.
You're in the sun, you're at the beach, like
Okay, I love that. Oh, wow. So what do your adventures look like these days with the girlies and the little guy?
I think everybody can relate to this when your adventure can be described as getting out the door and actually like getting into the garden or like actually getting that plant that you bought 3 days ago into the ground. Like that is an adventure because it's not like maybe the kids are sitting there kind of crying and they're not having it or you know they don't have their shovel, so there's no point in doing this, but that is an adventure. Don't sell yourself short. Okay.
Hmm.
um Life is an adventure. Don't sell yourself short that you've got to, you know, get on that hiking trail or they have to have their bikes on this like going around the lake. Like again, count your wins and say we what an adventure we had today. At the end of the day, at the dinner table in the bath before you go to bed, run back up to bed if you forget to talk about it. But remember that adventure we went on today? What adventure? The one where we like put the plant in the ground, like oh yeah, 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 they'll get excited and talk about it. Um, but for us right now, it's April, so there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of rain. Um, it's a little chilly, so I've really been getting good at. I want to go outside. I want my girls to get outside. We get outside and then we're cold and we don't have the equipment that we maybe should have to stay outside. So we all want to come back inside after 5, 10 minutes. So I
Hmm.
say, let's look outside. What does the weather tell us like we need? Why don't we step outside without our shoes on and see what we need to be out here for longer than 15 minutes? And that has really been helping them to and me to understand, you know, what do we need to stay out longer? So we'll go back in and we'll like this is simple. This is simple, ladies. Go back in,
Hmm.
get your coat on, get your mittens on, and I know a lot of you are already putting shoes on. That might just be me that needs that reminder, but um, put warm shoes on, socks on, and then go out. If it helps, um, leave your house area, out of sight, out of mind. Get the house out of view. Go somewhere where I know a lot of us maybe can't leave the house vicinity. If you're in a neighborhood, go to the park and start digging instead of doing it in your backyard where they see the house and it, you know, isn't a, it's you want to go back in.
Yeah, that is totally the stage that I am in right now. I just scared Sky a little bit. Um, but we went outside today and it was cold and we just got a huge 10-inch dump of snow today, this morning,
Wow.
last night. And so we came outside and Clay was like, oh my goodness, I can't see. And it was so bright, right? And so I was like, okay, wait here because we got all his snow stuff on already. And this was after Clay and Sky were both crying as we were exiting the door. And I was like, oh my goodness, should we even do this? And so we get outside and I was like, okay, stand here and I'm going to get you the sun hat. So I go back in and of course he doesn't want to stay outside alone. So we go back up the stairs. I get the hat for him. And he's like, no, this hat is the wrong hat. It doesn't fit well. And so then we get a different hat. And then we come out and he's like, it's still so bright. And of course it is because it's reflecting off the ground. It's not coming from the sky because it's the snow. And then we do like a 2-minute walk and he's like, let's go inside. And I was like, oh man, he's hungry. I should have fed him before we came outside, but like I didn't. So I run inside while he's distracted by an icicle that I grabbed him, got him a snack. And we were able to stay outside like another 10 minutes. But exactly what you're saying too. Like they're just like, it's cold, it's bright, I'm hungry. And he was like, let's go in the chariot. And I was like, I cannot push the chariot in this much snow. And this is not going to be the day that I put the skis on for the first time this winter, April 16th or whatever it is. So yes, I totally feel that with you.
Man, you've got to be
Alongside you.
just sometimes you have to be the mother, and it's the kind of remember you forget sometimes. I forget sometimes. Okay, I'm the mother here. Like, what do I need to do to get this child out the door? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's the nannying or just the babysitting I did, but it was always like, I don't really care what your attitude is. Like, I don't have to deal with it. And as
What do you mean?
moms, as moms, we do, you know, that
Mm,
attitude is gonna, it's going on to tomorrow and it's going on to the next day. Like we have, we want to cultivate something more all of a sudden, you know,
mm-hmm.
you're not just going back in when they're sad because you want to build that character. All of a sudden it's I'm here for them to build what who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So you run back in and get a snack. You run back in and get the right hat. And you know, then you also like, man, just wear the hat. I got you. Like just wear this hat. Which I mean, we do that too. But
In
I
that
think
moment when your kid is saying that they don't want to wear the hat, Dinah, I want to hear how you would play that out with your kid.
in some I have clung on to the phrase, choose your battles to an extent. Because sometimes, yes, I know the hat that they actually have been wearing lately and they really like. So I might run back in and grab that hat. In the case that I wouldn't, I probably would, and I've been doing this lately. I don't know, I don't know how this is going to work long term, but I've been just ignoring their complaints at this point. Sometimes I'll address them, but I've just been ignoring it where, Mom, no, not this hat. I want the green one. I wanted the green one. And I'll just continue on. Our
Okay.
plan was to go get the bikes. So I'm just going to go to the bikes and wait there. And so far, a lot of the time, it's just, yeah, she forgets about it and we go to the bikes. Or she leaves the hat at the step and comes out anyway. I mean, there's learning in that. I don't
Yeah.
have to have what I wanted. I do think that's huge. And right now I'm ignoring that plea of like that complaint of I want it, I want it. This isn't the one I want. Um,
Okay. When I visit you, Dinah, a lot of the time you are barefoot, you're running in and out of the house, but mostly you're outside doing life. Your girls are running through the tall grass playing. And I feel like, I think that that is a picture of your summer, from my understanding. A lot of the time, you guys are outside. And I would be interested to hear about how you've brought your kids into doing life with you outside, whether that is chores, or helping them get caught up in their own games and play, and maybe things where you're doing gardening and they are, playing their own games together. Could you share about kind of what that looks like?
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it earlier, but just this child-led play, I feel like that's a phrase that is popular, which is great. Child-led play, I think there's a lot of growing science behind it. Um, I love to introduce an idea to my girls in order for them to catch on, and then we either continue it together or they continue it themselves. And then growing into that child-led play would be the idea. Um, but I just think, yes, children are going to discover on their own. Absolutely. And that's great. There are times though, and this is maybe another approach that I do a lot, is I will introduce an idea, whether that's with words or with, what my agenda for the day. Man, this spring has been tarping my garden and cardboard tarp my garden. I'm not doing a garden this year. Um, Often, for those of you who don't know, I do a big garden. I have 100 by 100 garden and then 100 by 50 orchard and a big greenhouse. And we just like, that's our summer. And the summer has been, I'm going to take a step back from that and we're going to work on some other things. But, so we'll go out and this is with three now. Um, just a new challenge. I love it. So Mowgli, I'll go out there and I'll set him on the tarp and say I don't know, what, my plan is to cardboard this one walkway, um, and then mulch that walkway over top, and then we'll be good. Like if I can get that done, we'll be good. Well, of course, after that, I'm gonna want to go into the greenhouse and do some weeding and so I'll start putting the tarps down and immediately, Mowgli, he's not happy. So he kind of starts whimpering and crying. So Adelaide will run over to him and she'll be like, shh, baby, it's okay, Mogs. Like, what do you need? And so it's like, well, maybe get him a toy, I haven't started yet. I've got to get this done. Get him something. So she runs over and grabs him a shovel and puts it down, and now he's happy. Well, now Adelaide has gone into the greenhouse and found a package of peas and she wants to plant them. Like, this is the time to plant these peas. Mom, where can I plant these? Okay. So yeah, let's plant the peas. Let's plant the peas. That's a great idea. So we start weeding an area to plant the peas. So she's in there. It's raining, by the way. That's probably why Mowgli isn't very happy. Um, just sprinkling. It's not bad, but it is a little chilly. So Adelaide, but she wants to plant the peas. And I'm like, maybe we should just go inside. It's raining. Great time to just settle in. It's probably nap time. Oh yeah, it's like 1 o'clock. We're past nap time. So, but she wants to plant the peas. And so I get out my shovel, I get out my rake, and we make the rows. And I say, "Okay, see this stick here? You know, good rule of thumb, Adelaide, is to plant pea seeds about half an inch to an inch deep with about 5 inches to 10 inches of spacing. So let's find a stick that's like that. A stick. Okay, so she finds a stick. Okay, so now you place a pea seed, put the stick down, and after every end of your stick, you're going to place your pea seed. And I've helped her a couple times. And she planted 2 rows of peas. I got my cardboard done. I got my mulching done. And
So you started the peas and then you let her finish by herself.
so she started the peas because she wanted to do the peas. And I guess that's more I want them to continue on with their idea. If I had told her to
Yeah.
go, she could go plant those seeds, she would have done something like digging a hole and pouring the whole package of seeds into a hole.
Yeah.
It's just not helpful, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
it's if she wants to
Yeah.
help, I want her to help, but I want her to know how to help, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show her how to do it at the same time letting at the same time stepping back and letting her do it. Now forget about how much space is between those peas. I've shown her, what we want, or I've told her what we want. Um, I want the peas to grow for her. If she dug a foot hole and for them, they wouldn't grow either. So I think what you want is a successful outcome with something like that. To some extent, I we all have things to do when we go outside, I think, and so the children become the distraction. And I have been working on changing that mindset to my children are not the distraction. This project is the distraction from my children. We're mothers. Children are never the distraction. They should never be the distraction. So whatever you're doing is the distraction from your children. That's great. It might be a good thing. Distraction, you know, we've got to get the dishes done. We've got to clean up the leaf pile. But that is the distraction above your children. Your children should never be your distraction, in my opinion. Because as a mother, I don't know, take a step back. Why, what is your purpose as a mother? You have to have the answer to that question in order to, I think, cultivate what you're seeing, or your idea of what you want in your children. Answer that and rhetorically, or as a mother listening, answer that question. What is my purpose as a mother to this baby, to my children? I'll share mine with you, and it'll change and it'll morph and it'll grow. But mine is to create characters of, at this point, obedience and a teachable heart. So an obedient, teachable heart. You will find you cannot teach a child who can't obey. That it becomes very difficult. So start with that, or that's what I've started with. And then I want a character who is kind, who wants to help people, who sees purpose and beauty in every single living soul, people. That is my vision. That is when I forget, I've written it down multiple times. And I go back to it. What is your purpose? Because if you don't have a purpose, and you're kind of, you wake up every day and you don't have just the long-term purpose. I'm not saying you need an agenda for the day. That could be really helpful for some people. I'm saying, what do you want your children to be? Because you can create that. It's very exciting. You can create that in a child. It takes a lot of work and it takes time, but you can create what you want to see in your child.
I get asked quite a bit about the gear that we use while on international trips, especially about our lightweight playpen that we use. We'll bring that into the rock climbing crag or hike it into a beach and really use it for daytime naps anywhere. And so I put together a travel gear list, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't just cover like basic things that you would find on any travel list, but it's unique to the fact that these are specific things that might not be deemed as travel. And they are things that we have used over the last 5 years of traveling with our kids. So I've also included my kids' favorite activities for the plane and for road tripping as well. We have been really enjoying house sitting lately, and so I also put all the details in there. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, it is all linked in the show notes, so you'll find the link there.
So, Dinah, I've seen your kids climb trees and ask to play with different tools and different things. And I want to know if you would share about your approach to risky situations or things that the kids are asking to do that might, be beyond
what you would normally let them do alone.
Yeah, and I can say that I am that mom that lets their kid do those things that every other mom's like, wait, yeah, she has that, she has that. I know, I gave it to her, like that kind of thing. I am that mom. And it is fun, guys. There's freedom in saying, you know, it is a shovel that's sharp, and she is only two. Yeah, she could slice herself. She could nick her toe. She could bleed. And to say, you know what? That's okay. I'm not, don't get me wrong, um I'm not encouraging people to feel like they are being negligent, but I am encouraging you to step outside your comfort zone. I think that's important. So yeah, my kids, they handle pretty much every tool that I handle. I tried to keep the buck knives in my section of the drawer. That that didn't last very long because they were the sharp ones. Sharpest, very sharp knives. Yes, my children have hurt themselves. They have cut themselves. Um, and my guess would be that yours have too. Um, and maybe it just wasn't under, maybe it was under your supervision, maybe it wasn't. I think that allowing children to feel the freedom to make their own decision in what they're doing, specifically with tools and a risky situation, I'm thinking climbing on a big rock pile or, you know, climbing climbing a tree. Like these are young children. They are discovering the world. They're discovering their abilities. I know it's easy to be, be careful. Oh, honey, you're gonna fall. Just come on down. Come on down. These are situations that our children need to learn. And they're not going to, in my opinion, they're not going to learn how to climb a tree by watching somebody else climb a tree. Okay? Do you want that for your children? You have to want it. You have to um and again, comfortable, I think it's important to step outside your comfort zone. So if you see a situation where somebody else is letting their kids, maybe it's a good time for you to let your children, you might not have any idea what is the difference between negligence and a situation where you are maybe being the helicopter parent. Again, different experiences for different people lead to different people allowing their children to do different things. And I really do respect that. I think it's important to learn from our experiences. That being said, if you are unaware of where to start with watching other people that you trust and what they let their kids do, and try, if you are maybe a little bit more wary of allowing your children to do those things, try to letting them do it anyway. Um, yeah, you want your kids to build character, we were talking about, and a huge part of that is allowing them to do things that that present a risk. I love risk. I think it's an amazing character builder. Danica, you laugh. You love risk too.
I think that this is just so fascinating to talk about with you. But I also, I think because maybe you grew up and that was very natural.
Yep.
Also, and I think that maybe parents who are maybe more wary of that or have concerns, they probably also grew up with parents that experience the same thing. And so it's it's a hard place to sit in when we are parents in a generation where we now want to bring kids outside more, and maybe we didn't get that experience as
Yeah.
kids, where you and I did.
Okay.
I think our parents did push us a lot. And so now I think it's finding those uh those places where we can talk with trusted other parents that we trust, like you said, and maybe not going all the way that same day of letting the kid climb
Yeah.
the tree fully. This is my point of view.
Yeah.
But maybe just seeing like, okay, what is my kid capable of?
Yeah.
And like giving them experience to touch trees and to maybe find a low tree or, something that you feel more safe about. Because, yeah, I think that it's also, we don't want to create situations where we're super anxious all the time also.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's a good point of like, let's challenge ourselves um, and see maybe this is a situation where I don't feel comfortable, but how can we test it out and
Well,
see
and
how,
what's interesting is that, people applaud that, oh wow, like you're so good about letting them do that. I wish I wasn't so, I wish I would let my kids do that more. I wish I wasn't so afraid of letting them do that. And I think that's where people get caught up is you can do it with your kids, but as much as I would want to, and I see that it's a good thing, I can't do it. I can't do that with mine. And I would challenge you that you can. It might be something you have to work on, but you can get there. And speaking of trust, who is the great father? Like who do we trust? Um, would can we stop a situation or stop something from happening? Do we have total control over our lives and over our children's lives? And the answer, I think anyone would agree, is no. In the end, what control do we have? And what control are we trying to take? And what control are we trying to, what situations are we trying to control that actually make us more anxious and more stressed than allowing that situation to play out and saying, I'm going to take a step back and I don't need to have control over this. I think that is a huge place to start is looking at your children in a situation and saying, I do not have sovereignty over their life. You know, is that where you're getting hung up? I want to keep my child safe. Yes, we want our children to thrive. I cannot express how deeply that idea holds in my heart. I desire for my children to thrive and to allow a situation to unfold where I surrender my control is freedom. In my heart, this is freedom.
Wanted to take a second, especially if you're new here, and say hi. I'm Danica. I'm certified in holistic nutrition, a mom of 3, and I run a healthy snack blog where I share simple recipes for active families. Lately, I've been messaging my community about snacks, and the same themes keep coming up. You want more protein and less sugar. You're exhausted from figuring it out week after week on what snacks should be. Again and again, I heard, I want to prep once and feel set for the week. And honestly, that's exactly what I've been doing in my own house for the last couple of years. Every time I prep this way, the week feels so much better. Mornings are smoother, afternoons are calmer, and I'm not constantly trying to figure out what to feed everyone. So from that system, I created a 4-week ebook that walks you through snack prepping in one block per week with nutrient-dense, protein-forward recipes that your kids can eat any time of day, such as breakfast on the go, packed into lunch boxes, or as a pick-me-up in the afternoon. If snack time needs to feel easier and more nourishing, you'll find the Snack Prep Pro ebook linked in the show notes.
I want to jump into herbalism. I know that's a passion of yours, something that you're super knowledgeable about. And so I'd love to dive into that with you. And I have this memory of leading a hike with you for other kids, and you were handing out berries the whole time and little plants for everyone to take a snack on. And I personally would love to get better at knowing my local native plants. I know a lot of people would. And so I'm just curious how you got started into that and where to start.
Yeah, start This one is a good one for you to start this. Uh, you're the leader of this play. This isn't child-led play. Um, so I got into it. My dad would pull off a yarrow flower and start chewing on the roots. And so we'd pull up a yarrow flower and start chewing on the roots. Those little purple sprouts, they make your whole mouth go numb. It's really fun. Um, but that's really where it started, was childhood. Um, yeah, there was not a lot. There was a little bit of, you can't eat everything you see, so don't eat everything you see. Some things are poisonous. Okay, that was about it. I love, I don't know, I love a snack. So I was I was like, well, I know that some things you can eat out here, but I didn't know what I could eat. I didn't know what I could use. Um, and as that became a problem for me, because this one time I ate a handful of berries and I did not feel good after. And I was like, okay, it's true. You can't eat everything. See, I felt awful. I didn't throw up, but I felt gross. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing that again. So then I really started diving into what I could eat and how to figure that out. And then later on into doing a whole course on herbalism. And I just completed um, my herbalism um, practical after like 4 years. So, which is how long it takes. So I finished my 4 year herbalism course this last little bit. So I just have continued to learn about that. Um, yeah.
Can you give us examples of how you interact with plants these days with your girls?
Oh yeah. This is fun. See, this is where kids can be so much fun. Um, I want them to know as much as I know, and I want them to just like fly with this as they grow up. They might not, that's okay. But I want to try cultivating that, and they are excited to. A lot of my things that I use in my products now, I just get here. Everything I put in my products and in uh, my medicines are from my yard, my mountains, my surrounding area, and we go out and we forage them and get them. And the girls get really excited um, because they know, they've seen the results. So yeah, they get a bee sting. We go out, we find some uh, plantain or yarrow, and we stick it on there, and they stop crying. Like the pain goes away. And then, or yeah, they get a cut, and anyone immediately is like, "Where's the yarrow? Where's the yarrow?" Like, and just today, Adelaide steps on a piece of glass, and her foot is just bleeding a little bit. Ah, what do we need? What do we need? It's okay, Adelaide. It's okay, Adelaide. I said, well, what could we put on it? Yarrow, yarrow. Uh, Please, Ewan, will you go out to the garden and get me some yarrow? No, no, it's too cold out there. The point is, they knew what they needed.
Yeah.
Um, I do a lot of the Latin, so they're learning the Latin. We'll be driving by a tree. Oh, Mom, that's the Pope. That's the Pope. That's the pop pop. That's the Populus balsamifera. That's the Populus balsamifera. They're they're just my study buddies. We learn together. If I want to remember something, I'll share it with them, and then I'll be like, "Girls, what was this? What was this one called?" Adelaide is phenomenal. I mean, she just remembers it all. She remembers the names. She remembers what it looks like. Um, Anyone's a little younger, so she's getting there, but um, they, I use them as my internal memory box as well as mine fades.
That's so good.
And they know it. They know, like they'll go out and they will collect things for coughing. One of the one of the star herbs of the last couple cough seasons has been verbascum thapsus, and they know that if they go out and collect it, um, they know how to put it together. They know how to the alcohol that we use, and I will find them I don't, the alcohol is up high, but I will find them stuffing a jar, filling it with, whatever they think it needs. Usually it's water, but we're getting there. And they know how to make these medicines beyond even just that initial, I don't know, um, topical application. And I love it.
Hmm. Can you share with us a couple of the plants you would recommend to start with, like look up and kind of learn about? And do you
Yes,
have any books or recommendations of apps?
yes, both. Yes to both. Um, so it's April and we're in the Pacific Northwest. Um, Not everybody is, but that's where we are. So what we're seeing is, things are starting to come up. So that energy is going from the root to the plant now, which is really exciting. Um, if, we've done some root harvesting this year already, but now it's starting to kind of come out in the leaves and in the bark. But willow is I've been using a lot of willow bark. That's the Salix alba, if you want to know exactly what I'm looking at. But these are analgesics, so you can pick these pain relieving. So if you've got a headache, if you've got a sore, I don't know, a sore tooth, if you've cut yourself, if you have a bruise, you're taking that bark, you go up to that tree, that plant, that bush, whatever, different stages, but whatever stage it's in, look for that fresh growth. So it's usually a different color. It's either, often lighter or, you could see where the bark is starting a new shoot. And you can snap one of those off and peel that off and start chewing on it. And you chew on that for 5, 10 minutes, whatever you want. And that's going to start working its way into your system as a pain reliever. So if you have a headache, and this, I just love it when people start trying this because they start having stories of having it work, and it's really exciting. What have we been given to help and aid and just our bodies in this case, some of the ailments that we have. Um, so that's willow. Okay, here's a fun one. I know you have this quackgrass. Okay, so this is really fun because it's everywhere. This is what you see your dog chewing on um, and then throwing up usually, but um, yeah. So usually the roots in this case, so it's like the rhizome it's called the rhizome of the quackgrass. You pull it up and it's just all these the little white shoot roots that are going. These are the rhizomes, and you can either pop those in and chew them up. They're, yeah, really, they're fresh, grassy. You can eat the grass, the actual like blades of grass as well. This can be urinary or also digestive. Man, today there are a lot of digestive things going on, even if it's just bloating after a restaurant meal or too much eating. Um, it's just, it calms those systems. It allows your body to process that better. It coats your digestive lining, so the stomach especially, and just allows you that bloating to really work its way out a lot faster. On this note, red clover. Uh, I I don't go far from red clover. That is a.
Hmm.
It's just it'll be coming up here in the next a little bit, but um, digestive bloating, you go out and just find those bright red or white clover and just start popping those. Those are sweet. The kids
Like the
love those.
flower.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, okay, like the flower that often grows in grass, right? Like those little short ones. Is that what you're talking about?
Those are the usually, yeah, the white. That's usually the white clover, which is also great.
Okay.
But the purple clover. So they're big, kind of
No.
but
Oh, yes.
they look kind of fuzzy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you've probably eaten those. They're sweet.
Okay.
so digestive calming and great for
I'm think
kids too.
I'm thinking about these now for backpacking. I feel like on a backpacking trip, I'm always getting like not enough fiber, all these dried foods that aren't hydrated enough, and you get bloating or
Yes.
stomach aches, you know? And so I feel like,
Constipation.
yes, this is what I'm thinking. Like, we need to find these
Yes.
quack
Yes.
grass.
Yeah, the rhizomes of the
And the quack
yes.
grass, is that thick, fuzzy grass?
There are so many varieties of couch grass, quack grass. They're all very similar when it comes down to it. Um, I forget the botanical name for that, for the one I'm thinking of. But yes, it is what's growing in your backyard and you just kind of hate because it takes over everything. But they have, when you pull them up out of your garden, they have all these trailing ends. So, they're wanting to shoot up again.
Okay, I just pulled one out of my garden a day ago then.
Yeah, and you saved it because you're gonna eat it. Um,
No.
well, because we're young moms or around young moms on this podcast, um, I have and come across a lot of catnip. Do you have a lot?
Okay.
Um, this is often like a wild mint, but a little different. A little different in that it's not quite wild mint, but it smells like mint and it's in the mint family, but it's catnip, and this is phenomenal for infants. When they get
Huh.
that young cold when they're like 2 or 3 months old, and you're like, they don't deserve this. Like, where did you get a cold? And it's like their first cold, and they're coughing, and they're not sleeping well, and they're all snotty and congested, and um, you're spraying breast milk up their nose, and it's just kind of it's just a whole deal. Catnip, which uh once you look it up, you'll I'm sure you'll recognize it. But you make this into a tea with your breast milk. It's really fun. Um, your breast
Can you
milk,
be more specific? Tell
yes.
me how I'm making a tea with my breast
So,
milk.
so I don't usually warm it because it's usually all happening at the same time. But um, so you're going to infuse your breast milk with this catnip. So you rip up the leaves of the fresh catnip. I wouldn't wash them if they're not dirty. I don't. I just for a young baby, I I'd rather not have tap water or water going into their breast milk. Again, if they're really dirty, wash them.
I was going to say it depends where you find the catnip,
Yes.
not by a
So
road with all the
so that's another
idling.
that's another that's another that's a great point, Danica. Yeah, you're gonna find these in an area where it's clean. They may grow on roadsides. They're more of a house. They kind of magnet to your house plant or garden, outside garden area. I they're a little bit invasive. Once they start, like they're in the fields and they're just growing. So if you know what I'm talking about, or you look it up and you're like, oh yeah, I have that, or I've seen that, or I'm gonna go look for that. Um, Rip that up. You're gonna just put that in your breast milk, a bottle, and if your baby doesn't take a bottle, it gets a little tricky. Sometimes even just like having it around the baby at that point, or you drinking a lot of it is helpful. But making that into a water tea for yourself, you don't have to drink your breast milk. I mean, if you're into that, I'd love to hear about it. But um,
That's where the
um,
line stops for Dinah.
um, you could talk me into a lot of things.
That's so good. Could you talk to us a little bit about raspberry leaf? Because I feel like if you have any insight on that, like,
Oh,
do you
um,
like to make your own tea? Do you save your own raspberry leaves? I don't know. I feel like I've been drinking that, but I only thought it was like, okay, I'll just like dehydrate a few and make a little tea out of it. But I guess it's super good postpartum also.
yeah, it can be great. It can be, yeah, that's a very classic pregnancy postpartum herb, I think. Yeah, drinking a lot of it is really great. So can be a uterine toner, right? So I did avoid it in the first trimester of pregnancy. Just because it is a uterine stimulant as well. So in the late second, third trimester, it's like free game. Um, but if there's, especially if there's just anything, any concerns or unknowns, I did avoid it in the first trimester.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah, postpartum, again, you're wanting your uterus to start, you know, uh, healing and just toning itself again, and that tea is going to be that is what also sorry, red raspberry does. Also, your red clover is a great pair with that for uterine stimulant and milk production. Um, whether or not that's a is difficult or you're struggling with breast milk production, those are great pairs. You probably have some in your backyard. Are those starts that I gave you like 5 years ago? Did those take off
Yeah,
at
the
all?
raspberry. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did so good last year. I had such a good year last year. Two
And
years
did you pick
later,
leaves from
after
that?
yeah, my pregnancy was so intense all summer. I did not. I thought about it like so many times, but I just drank the organic tea that somebody gave me.
Well, that's great. And sometimes are you saying you didn't pick it because um
I didn't pick it because I was in the house and
yeah,
sick,
it was
and
like just too, yeah, that's just too
there was
much.
too many things.
And
Keeping two other children alive.
you had some in your pantry, so that's great. Yeah,
Yes.
you do what you can.
We could talk for so long, Dinah. I want to know about a favorite moment outside with your kids.
Yeah. So many, just so many. But one recently, and this is kind of in the whole realm of it's hard, but you can do it. Um, it was pouring rain, and my husband really wanted to get this one project finished, and I didn't. There's just a distrust with young children in the house by themselves, so I wasn't going to send them in there. And they were outside. It was raining, and they were cold. I was cold. We'd been out there for a long time. It was past supper time. We were all hungry. Um, and I just got into the mindset of this is hard, but we can do it. And so I started just kind of like obnoxiously singing, "This is hard, but we can do it." I don't know the tune I had, but it was like just if you know me, you can imagine it. This is hard, but we can do it. I am strong and I am brave and I am tough. I can do it. And I didn't ask them to say it with me. I said you could say it with me if you want, but I was I was going to say it for myself and for them to hear it. And it took a while, but they started singing it with me. This is hard, but I can do it. I am brave and I am tough. I am tough. And we finished our evening with that where there were tears. It was hard. It was sad. And it transitioned into just this determination of get the job done. This is hard, but we can do it. And I've really been living off that for the last little bit.
That's so good. I love that story. How they do follow us. They do copy eventually.
They do
Oh,
eventually.
what is your favorite piece of outdoor mom gear that you have been
Yeah.
loving?
Okay. Love my knuckle. Okay. This is a given name. That's what my husband calls it. I think it's called a hori hori. I think that's the right one. I know that that is a tool. Um, shoot, you're gonna,
I don't know
I'll,
what you're talking about.
I
Okay, you
know.
explain it.
Okay. It's a shovel. It's a narrow shovel that looks kind of like a knife. It has serrated on the one side and then it's sharp on the other, and it has a rope hook on the one end, like a rope cutter. Anyway, it's just like this multi tool. It's got a handle and you can dig with it. You can cut roots with it. You can cut branches with it because it's got the serrated. But it's also a shovel. So you know, you're digging up plants or you're creating holes. It's, it is like a must have if you do any kind of planting or gardening or foraging. I take that with me and I'm cutting and my second that pairs with that is my baskets. I leave those in the car. I bring them out. I'm always bringing them out to the garden, or there's ones already out there, because if you have a basket, little baskets, big baskets, but especially little one, like just those medium-sized baskets, you are gonna put things in it. So next time you go out, or it's like the short day hike, or you're going to the park, bring your basket and your hori hori, your knuckle, or something like it, so that you can, if it's rooty or branchy, you can still cut it. You've gotta be able to get it. um, you will put it in it and you will bring it home. And then you can start doing things with it. But that's a start. Bring your basket and wherever you go.
So good. Thank you so much, Dinah, for sharing today on the podcast. I really love talking to you, and I'm grateful that you're here with us.
Oh, thanks so much, Danica. And I can't wait till I catch up and come see you.
Hey, thanks for listening today. I'd love to invite you to join our Facebook group, the Let's Go Outside Facebook group. It's where the conversation keeps going with other moms. We kind of chat about what our favorite places are. I like to encourage people. It's just a really cool place to meet more moms. So you'll find the link to that group in the show notes, along with everything we mentioned today, whether that's gear or the places that we like to explore. So thank you for being here and being a part of this community.